Hey everybody, Joe Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. A little bit of technical difficulties as usual. Broadcasting from home today, so it's pretty relaxed here. Just wanted to kind of get into some of the slides. We did have the market pull back a little bit on the Fed notes. Yeah, it looks like in the last few minutes it did pull back, and not looking as great. By the way, I have a very nice little trade that I want to show you in just a second after we get through the slides. It's just about a minute, and it's on Union Pacific, and it's a bull call spread. Very nice little trade, easy to get into, and I think that you'll like it. And hopefully, we'll be able to get it up for you here in just a second. The market is still under pressure, meaning that the market is not looking, it's kind of going sideways, and this is making it hard to trade. Of course, a lot of the tech stocks, Nvidia is going to be announcing tonight, probably going to do very well. We'll take a look at that in just a second. That we did have a spread trade on that, and I think some people that were in that did very well. I did close that one early, so not as but I do think that Nvidia was pushing up towards the end there, on anticipation of great earnings, and I do think they're going to have some really good earnings this quarter. So we're sort of in earnings season, and it's just it's one of those things. Here are the stocks that I currently have. I did buy Airbnb this morning, and that is doing very well. It's up. And I didn't quite get it at this price. I wish I did, but it's up about 2.69% on a lot of volume. They had really good numbers. The travel stocks seem to be working right now. It's just interesting how the travel stocks seem to be working, and that's the name of the game. So there's not that many areas of the market that are working. Oil's working. Travel is starting to work. Some of the techs, but mostly not. So it's really a mixed bag. A lot of the stocks that were formerly really great have been pulling back. I have essentially a short on Etsy. I'm going to look in on that. Also on Teladoc and a few of the other ones. So what was working before doesn't necessarily look like it's working now. But the travel is starting to come in. Airbnb has some really good numbers. I do think that Expedia also might be one that you want to see there. So that's pretty much it. So let's get into some of the questions here. So appreciate your waiting. Oh, before we go that, let's go ahead, and I want to just share out this little video here on this is on the trade on Union Pacific. So you might want to this one might be of some this might be appealing to you as well. Let's see if we can get it up here. There we go. Come on. All right. There we go. And this is the one on Union Pacific. Just uploading that now. With Dallas Trading Floor, I want to show you a great bull call spread that I just put together for Union Pacific. Because of the price of fuel, trucks are less competitive now than they were just a few months ago, and that has made Union Pacific and rail in particular very competitive for transportation, and it is showing in the stock price. To create this call spread, I bought 18 March 255 call and also sold the 18 March 260 call. In this case, I did two contracts for a total out-of-pocket expense of $426. Here is a heat map or expected value chart for this trade. As long as it keeps moving up, we'll be fine, and we'll get our maximum profit right here at above 260. So if the stock closes above 260 by the expiry, which is March 18th, we will make the entire profit. So anyways, that's just a little bit of a look-see on this trade on Union Pacific. So I wanted to take a look kind of at the chart on Union Pacific and show you why this one might work. UPN, of course, UNP, I think it's right. No, UNP, is that right? Yeah, UNP is the symbol for Union Pacific. And this one, basically it moved up very nicely today, as you can see. Moved up quite nicely, and we're right below the buy point. The buy point on this one, 256.11. So the spread on this one basically allows you to get in on this, and possibly do well on this one. Lots and lots of funds that are in this one. So we have a relatively strong stock. Technically, this is looking pretty good. It's above all the major indexes. So this is one of the reasons why we decided to put this one out there. So if you're interested, of course, it's easy. I'm going to be putting this up in the link. I'm going to be putting this up in the link soon. So you should be able to you should be able to access it just by going to www. Dallas Trading Floor. I'll have this one up probably right after the show, and if you go there, you'll be able to see this trade. But anyways, it's an interesting trade, and it might very well work for you as well. So let's take a look at some of the questions. Thanks for holding on. It's G. Thank you. Let's look at GLBE and see if there's anything there that we can kind of see. So GLBE, and that is, okay, well, there we go. Global E Online. I'm not familiar with this. This was an Israeli-based company. Not as familiar with this one as some of the other ones. But let's take a look at the chart. The chart essentially is trending downwards, and I probably would not be a buyer in this one just because of that trend. I don't like to. The trend is my friend, and I don't think you're going to like this one that much. It's only a 44% on the. It's only a 44% on the checklist. So I probably would avoid this one, it's just one of those things. I'm glad you took a look at it, but this is not a strong stock, and I don't think that it's one that would work probably well for you. So I would avoid this one, at least for right now. At least for right now, I think that this one is fairly weak. So not something that you can really do as well. Let's also take a look. Oh, let's look at this one. This is a good question. Thanks, Jay. Jim, corrupt market. Yeah, I agree with you. Weird negative to positive. Yeah, it's really, really tough. And of course, you're right. You're absolutely right. As we all kind of thought, I think, NVIDIA is this super company, but is it easy to trade? Not on your life. It's hard trade. It's hard to trade. After hours, we basically, the last trade on this 265, it was up strongly, a little bit off after hours. Not surprising at all, because it's not surprising at all that it would be off a little bit after hours. But I agree with you. It is an amazing stock, and it's one. I think it's turned the corner. I think we've now, we've come down to the 200-day line. We've tested it there, and I think we're going to move higher. I'm bullishly optimistic. In a normal market, I would be buying this thing off the chain, but this is just such a weird market. I think probably what we're going to have to do here, we're going to have to probably put together an iron condor or something like that will protect us on the downside, because this, this is a tough market to trade. It's just very squirrely in all of its iterations. The checklist on this one looks good, of course, 78. Technicals on this are very, very good. It's come off the 200-day line. The only thing it's lagging right now is the 50-day line. It will catch up with that, no question about it. With these earnings, just tremendous stock, but tough to trade. Would I buy it here? Well, I may do a spread trade, and that probably would be an iron condor, because I'm still afraid, that we could possibly get this thing pulled, could pull back down. It's just such a strange market that that indeed could be the case here. But if you have it, I wouldn't be selling it. That's for sure. And if we can get over that 40-day line, the 50-day line, then I think that you might even want to add. I still think this is a great stock. 267 is where the 50-day line is. Let me just kind of show you the technicals on this one. I think you can see it on this moving averages, but this is kind of where they're located. 270 is where the 50-day line is. If it moves above that, you might want to add if you already have it. If I was establishing a position here, well, it has reversed. We're not technically at a buy point, but all in all, it's looking very good. Let's take a look at some questions from TikTok. Thank you for holding, everybody. So appreciate it. By the way, if you want to see these charts that I'm showing everybody else on YouTube, it's very easy. Just go to my profile and you'll be able to go right down to where the YouTube feed is, and you'll be able to see these charts directly. Sometimes that's a difficulty. On YouTube, we should have capability, hopefully soon, with TikTok to show these charts. But right now, we don't have the capabilities to do that. What do you think about Peloton? Well, I shorted Peloton, actually, and then I closed my short. And, Peloton did have a dead cat bounce. So let's take a look at Peloton. This one was a right plum for picking. And we definitely did that. Still in a downward trend. Let's just kind of zoom over to Peloton here. Peloton just does not look good. I mean, it did pull up to the 40-day line, but I think it's going to continue down. It's at 32.05 after hours. Still a very weak stock. I think this one actually could go lower. You think, boy, how could this thing go any lower? Well, it's easy for it to go lower, believe me. So I probably would not be a Peloton buyer here. Just does not look good to me. Just doesn't look good to me. All right, let's look at CRM. Of course, this is Salesforce. This is one of the old war horses. CRM has been lagging a little bit. It is a tremendous company, but it's much more mature. It is in this downward trend, and that's something that we just have to be really cognizant of. It's in this downward trend. We're below the 200-day line, and and we have, unfortunately, a very big, this is what they call the death cross. So would I be buying this here? Well, I don't necessarily think this is I don't necessarily think this is an ideal short, but I think that you do want to stay away from this one. This chart does not look very strong. On the technicals, we're below every major index. So money is flowing out of this issue right now. The last time we had a basically place that you could buy at a buy point was 62 days. It was, 102 days ago, and it's off from that from 23%. So I just wouldn't touch this one. Does not look good to me. So I would not be in this one. If you're down more than 7%, really do consider possibly lightening up, because this one could go much lower than it is now. So we got to be careful in this market. It's a tough market to trade, and it's just not as easy as it was. Let me show you one that I did buy today that I do like the looks of. I kind of like the cut of its jib, and this one I did enter in today, and it is Airbnb. They had some very good earnings. Now, this is not necessarily a recommendation. I don't know if you would want to go into this one, but I did, and I did go in with a full position. So that, for me, is a lot. Let's see. There we go. And you can see the differences in the charts here. Let's pull up that chart, and there you go. Well, here's the thing about this one. We are below the buy point. The buy point is at 212.58. 212.58. It's right up here, and then I do have also a reversal line drawn right here. So if it comes above this, that's also a place to buy. I've been watching this one for a while, kind of waiting. This would be an early place. This would be an early buy. This would be an early buy. The cut base is basically 12% away. So this is essentially an early buy off of a reversal, but it does look very strong. In this market, we want to buy them a little bit earlier than we normally would. Normally, we would wait to see if it had strength to move up to 212, and then after it went over that, that would be the buy point. That would be where we're buying. That's not the case here. With this one, we're buying on the reversal, and we're buying on strength as the market seems to be reopening for the reopening trade. This one of the advantages, of course, of Airbnb is its popularity, and we do have a lot of funds that have been moving into this one as well. So this is one that I'm cautiously, I always put this way, cautiously optimistic on. This is one we might want to look at. Also, let's take also look at net. This is, I believe this is net. Is this Digital Turbine? If I'm not mistaken, or is that apps? Let me look at net. NET. And this is from RG. Let's take a look. And yeah, Cloudflare. Oh, I'm sorry, Cloudflare. Excuse me. This is Cloudflare, and this one did have a rejection. Oh, that's too bad. This one, I would wait until this thing moves above the 200-day line right here. We did have essentially the where the 40-day, the 50-day moved below the 200-day. This is not a strong sign. This is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness. We did have it bounce, go all the way down and then bounce, but not one. This just isn't ready to go. This is a watch list. What I'm doing here is I'm moving over to the weekly chart to see kind of what's going on here in terms of that. We seem to have some good numbers that have been coming out, but on the fundamentals. But it does appear that we're moving down here. So would I buy at this level? I would wait until it moves above that 200-day line. I just probably wouldn't buy it in this look at this level. So let's look at the technicals and kind of see where is that. Well, because we're on the weekly chart here, it says 40 weeks. Of course, that's the same as the 50-day on the daily chart, but it's below that. So I probably, here's the thing. This is a fairly weak stock. This is fairly weak right now. I would wait on this one. I think you just got to wait, and that's always the hardest thing to do. The enterprise software area has been suffering as of late, so it's difficult to buy this stock right now. So I would pass on this one, and I would just wait until we have a better a better thing to buy. Okay, let's take a look. More likes. Okay. Jim, Palantir tomorrow, thoughts. Okay. We got earnings on Palantir, and I do think that if this doesn't improve, if the situation doesn't improve for Palantir, that this one may be an acquisition candidate. I could see a Google buying this because, and again, I don't have any inside information, but PLTR, this one, I don't know. It may have good earnings. I don't think it's going to move on as much on earnings as it probably would have in a better market. But looking at Palantir, it's not a good chart. I mean, it's really just not a good chart. It's under the 200-day moving average. The 50 days crossed below it. Currently, money is flowing out of this issue. I mean, that's just the long and the short of it. I mean, money is flowing out of Palantir. So probably don't want to be in it right now. Just not a good place to be with that. If you want to see the chart on this and you're looking on TikTok, super easy. Just go to my profile and then you'll be able to see the live feed on YouTube. All right. NVIDIA, yeah, exactly. NVIDIA crushed, but it dipped. Why? Well, that's a really good question because even though NVIDIA had some incredible numbers, this is a weird market. I'm telling you, this is a weird market. It is not rewarding some of these tech stocks that it was before. I mean, look at this. After hours, we are down on NVIDIA, and they did crush it. You are absolutely right. They did crush it on the earnings. So, what to do here? Well, this is why the way you want to trade this, you don't probably want to be long in this, but an iron condor might work on this issue. So we just don't know. I was going to put out an iron condor on this. I kind of pulled back from it. The iron condor would have worked based on the volatility, but here's the thing. again, tough market to trade. Many of the market leaders that were out there before just don't work as well as they did. As they did. Can you help with NVIDIA? Sure, absolutely. My question is, absolutely, I definitely can. I can help you with NVIDIA. Just to send me, just send me an email, and I can probably get back to you on that. But if you want, just send. This is my email address, DallasTradingFloor@gmail. So if you want to send, if you're interested in that, I can take a look at this. Some incredible growth. So yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing, and and there you go. All right, so let's get back to the questions and see here. It did beat estimates, absolutely, but that's the thing in this market. It's just so strange. NVIDIA is just that's the way it is. All right, let's look at Coinbase. Of course, this was an IPO. I did buy the IPO when it came out. I did sell it about 15 minutes later, making a quick profit on it. But Coinbase has not been as I would have pegged it to be a better stock. It has just not performed as well as a lot of the other ones, and it's down below the 200-day line. It's just been out just a little over 200 days, but it has moved essentially from its high basically to basically its low. So let's look at the monthly chart. As you can see, we started out here with such promise at 400. We're currently half of that. So the people that got in on an IPO, they lost half of their money already. So would not recommend it. Just again, would not recommend it. Let's try, in this kind of market, we got to look to where the strength is. One of the stocks that I am trying to build a position in is Google or Alphabet, even though it has been very tough to trade. I mean, it's below. The reason I made it sort of an exception for Google is because of the 20-to-1 split. We will see, but it does look like it's getting strength at the 21-day line. It was up today about a little bit less than 1%, or about quite. Because it's such an expensive stock, it was up about $22 a share. This is one you might want to look at. Now, would I recommend buying it at this level? I'm being very aggressive on my buys. Really, what I would do on Google is I would wait until it moves above the 200-day line, and meaning the 50-day line. And currently, that's at about 2,000. That's at a price of about 2,800. If it moves above about 2,800, that's where I think you could possibly make a stand for it. But right now, it's just a tough market to trade. The advantage of some of these big cap techs, I do believe, it is sort of a safe haven for many, for many people, because some of these smaller techs just aren't producing the kind of results that we had. Okay, let's look at Airbnb again. I've been covering this one, Brian. I did buy this today, and I did buy it on the breakout. Now, did I get the very best price? No, but I did do okay. I did do okay. But Airbnb had great numbers. This is an area where we can possibly start looking right now for some trades. We've had so many false starts with the reopening trade. I do think that that this is going to hold. Now, it did. It pulled out just slightly after hours, down about 34 cents, but it moved up very, very nicely on extremely strong volume. This is one of the things I want to point out here, is that the volume of buying after the earnings were tremendous, and the price is up as well. So we have some funds, obviously, that are buying this right now. So I kind of followed along with the funds. I did buy a full position here. I did buy a full position, but if you notice, we're up above every major index: the 10-day, the 21-day, 30. The 50-day and the 200-day. So we're looking very good. This is looking good right now. Can we buy it here? Well, let's see if it holds this level. I do think that it probably will hold this level and move higher. But the true buy point on this is 212. So we're a little bit shy of that right now. We're a little bit shy of that, but the true buy point for this is 212. So that's kind of where we want to go in terms of the price. So I do like it. It's got a nice. Let's look at the checklist to make sure. And I think the checklist is fairly strong here. Yeah, it's very strong. It's it's 89% checklist. So the only thing that this is not 100% on is the earnings per share. But other than that, this is looking very, very good. Now, one other sector that we did see some strength in today, of course, was the oils. So what I kind of want to do here is look at some of the oil stocks. I mean, sort of, let's look at those oil sectors, kind of to see how they're doing. This since the beginning of the year and actually a little bit before, this has been where the strength in the market is, and it's mainly because of inflation that we're seeing so much that we're seeing so much strength here. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just show you the industry group rankings and currently from the top to the bottom. So right now, in terms of rankings in terms of rankings right now for all of the industry groups in the stock market, the number one area right now is the Canadian E&P. There's only a few companies in that, but the third one is the U.S. drillers, and this has just been strong for a long time. I do have several stocks in this area, but let's kind of take a look at this group to see if there's just anything anywhere we can get in on this. This group, the oil and gas U.S. E&P has been in the top since for a while now. And this is where we're going to need to look at, in this crazy market. This is sort of kind of what we need to look at. Let's look at those top stocks. Of course, Pioneer National is number one. I do have Matador. That's the one I do that I own personally. Then there's also Diamondback, which is FANG. It's not a FANG stock. It just has the symbol FANG, F-A-N-G. But that was the other one you want to look at. Let's see if there's any that we can enter right now. I want to take a look at FANG, at my old friend Diamondback, to see if it's just at a place that it can be entered. I think it's at a buy point. So let me just see, and it does have earnings. Oh goodness, it's just in a few days. Let's see if I can collapse that panel. There we go. Okay, so we're just right above, I believe, we are. Hopefully, there we go. Okay, now this is gonna. I'm having a little bit of a slow connection, so that's part of the reason that this isn't quite as robust as the machine that I have at the office. But let's take a look to see on FANG if we can. No, it's just not letting us. There we go. Okay, so this does have a 100% checklist. I want to show you this. These are the kind of stocks you want to buy. The stocks that are very strong, and in the right sectors. This is definitely looking good. The only thing, it's pulled back a little bit below the 10-day line. But let's look and see kind of how close to that pivot it is. It's 10% above the pivot, but this is a commodity stock, so this one might not be a bad. It's a little extended here, so you might not want to go with a full position. But this is the kind of stock you want to look with. This is FANG, F-A-N-G. Now I don't own it, but I own another one in the group, and that is Matador, MTDR. And let's see how Matador is doing today. I've had it for just about a week or so, not a whole lot of time. This one is still, I think, below the pivot. So this is probably in a better position. This is probably in a better position to buy right now. This also has a 100% checklist, if you can see it. And on the technicals, it is basically above all of the major indexes except for the 10-day line. So this is a potential place that you could buy it on a pullback. Now, I probably bought it too high. It's tough to get it absolutely right, but this is something that might work very well. We're about 7% below the pivot, so this is one also with a 100% checklist, at least for right now. This looks like something that might work very, very well for you. So just wanted to put that out there, the top sectors that are working. All right, AMC. I haven't heard the AMC name in a long time. This was a meme stock, of course, and we did People held this and held this and held this, and it does seem to be, it's still hanging in there. But let me just say one thing about this. I hope that you were able to sell, because I don't think, at least from what I can tell, the earnings are looking as good as they were. Part of the problem with this stock is that, it's just weak. I mean, it's being disinvested from the 50-day line, of course, below the 200-day line, making it kind of a weak stock right now. I would not be a buyer of this one, but I appreciate I appreciate you bringing it up. Not the stock I would buy right now, just because it is very, very weak. And I don't know, the movie business used to be a great business, and now I don't. At least in the U.S., it's not as good as it used to be. So I would not be a buyer of AMC. Just don't think that probably it's where you want to be. All right. Okay, Palantir. Okay. Well, saying cash flow is tight. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. Well, everybody, I am basically. I guess we're moving right along. I'll be back tomorrow with more questions. But until tomorrow, let's see if we have any more questions that I can answer really quickly here. SLDP. Let's look at SLDP and see what is going on there. Let's look at it. SLDP. And this is not a symbol I'm familiar with. Solid Power manufactures all solid-state rechargeable batteries for the vehicle industry. Okay. Well, that's a good thing. The biggest problem with this industry that I see is that Tesla makes all of its own batteries. Now, they may be able to sell them to the other companies such as General Motors and Ford, but in terms of a supplier to anybody, Tesla makes all their own batteries. So even though it's a good idea, the stock just isn't doing very, very well. I think most of the batteries are either going to be Chinese manufacturers or some of the Japanese manufacturers like Panasonic. That was the original company that Tesla partnered with. Tesla is now making its own batteries in Austin, Texas. And I think that there will be probably a replacement market out there sometime like, but I don't really think that would make sense. Let's take a look at Roblox, because it did drop very strongly today, and let's look at it. Rblx. I did not have a short on this one. This is sort of on my shorting list. Boy, look at that. Woo, it took a big dive. A little bit of stabilization after hours, but it does look like it really kind of moved down strongly. Let's go to the weekly chart here. And I guess they did have earnings. Yeah, it's a strong movement down. Boy, and it's below the 200-day line. So again, Roblox, again, this was an area that was huge, and it's now getting punished. It's now getting punished. So yeah, just not looking good. Probably would not be a buyer in that at the moment. Okay, poor earnings on Roblox. That's why. Okay. Boy, any missing it just takes it in the shorts. Well, everybody, thanks. I'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock or thereabouts, whenever I get everything done. You might want to check out this spread that I have on Union Pacific. I kind of just want to bring that up again, because I think it's going to do well in this environment. Very, very unexciting stock, but it's an inflation play, and I think it will do well. It's a bull call spread. I don't have many bull trades. Most of my trades right now are options trades, and they're mostly bear trades. But this one, I think you might be able to benefit from, because I do think that Union Pacific will be moving higher. It's right below buy point right now. They had some very good news, very good earnings, and this is sort of an inflation kind of stock, and it's one that that might do well in that. So that's one that you might want to look at. Rivlin. I don't know if Rivlin, RVLN. I'm not sure about this. RVLN. I think that's the symbol for Rivlin. I'm not sure. No. Oh boy, I don't know about this one. I think this one was bought. The problem with the vehicle companies is it's just been tough sledding for everybody, but even Tesla. It's been tough sledding for them. Any thoughts on Halliburton? HAL. Halliburton may do well if the domestic oil production moves up, because, of course, they are a major supplier of drilling services industry. So that's sort of how it works. I mean, you have when you're in the oil business, you contract with the Halliburton or Schlumberger, and that's sort of how you roll. Good stock, looking very nice. It's way above the buy point. This is extended. You don't really want to buy a stock extended like this. It's in a good area, and I think we're going to see some more strength here. But this is extended, so here's my advice for you. I wouldn't buy this stock extended. So this stock is extended. So I wouldn't buy here. So that's kind of my take on it. Yeah, I just wouldn't buy here. The stock is extended. The buy point on this one, the proper buy point. Let's kind of go to the list so we can see the proper buy point on a cup basis for Halliburton is the last one was 26.75. It's a little bit above that. It's at 33.62, but it's looking strong. I just wouldn't buy it here just because you don't want to buy it. You want to get in, at or below the buy point, because that's in a kind of market like this, that's kind of your best bet. But right now, Halliburton, it's looking good, but I wouldn't be a buyer. It's extended, so you don't want to do that. Okay, AMAT just had earnings. Let's take a look at Applied Materials. Applied Materials has, of course, is a chip equipment manufacturing company. Matter of fact, when I was in Silicon Valley, one of my customers was one of their competitors, KLA, which you may have heard of. So I'm pretty familiar with this industry, and it's very, very cyclical because there's a lot of orders every time the chip companies like TSMC or Intel go to a next level of production, and then it kind of ramps. So it's about an 18-month cycle on this in terms of a sales cycle. This is pulled below. This is right at the 200-day line. It's doing well after hours. It's up about 2.4%, which is good. That means they had good earnings, and it's looking strong. We are sort of in a period right now in this industry where we're going to see, we're probably seeing this upgrade cycle, and that could be a situation that is looking that is looking good. I know that. There we go. Take that one out. That could be a situation that's looking good, but it does look like we have strong sales. The earnings were good. We're in a pretty good cycle for the semiconductors right now. My only concern right now is that we're trading below that 200-day line. I would watch list this one because I think that if it shows strength and it moves above that 200-day line, that's where we could probably start building a position. So with Applied, I would probably watch this one, even though it had great earnings. I just want to see if it can hold these numbers. It's up after hours. Probably it can. If it can hold this, then we might be in a situation where we could do something. So looking at the technicals for Applied, it is above the 40-week line, which is good. A little bit below the 50-week line, but strength is starting to come back into this issue. I just would be super careful here. So I would wait on this one, and I would wait because you don't want to buy this one and then have it lose strength. So that's kind of thing. I would probably watch this one for now. There's just not a lot of setups. There's not a lot of good setups right now. The great setups, but for the short side, there is a potentially very good. There is a very good short potentially, and I want to show you this. I'm going to be working on on a trade for this one. It's Builder's First Source, BLDR, and I want to show you. This is for the short. BLDR. I don't have a trade ready for this one yet to share, but I will as soon as I can on Builder's First Source, because I do think that this one, it has been very strong, but it's now showing a lot of weakness, and this is the kind of stock that you want, a former leader that is under pressure. As you can see, it topped out. It topped out way up here, way up at about 86, and since it's pulled back, and it's right on the 21-day line. That's this green line here. So it looks like this is getting possibly at a place where this could be potentially shorted. So I just want to kind of look at this here. We were all the way up here. We pulled back down. We dove through that 50-day line. We pulled down to the bottom of the consolidation, which is 63.20. Then we rallied to the 200-day to the 21-day line. We pulled back. We rallied again, and then we pulled back, and we've rallied again. Usually, when it rallies 3 times to the 21-day line, that is a potential place that we can short it. So I'm going to be putting together a short trade for this. Now, the problem with shorts are that when they snap back, they can snap back hard. So you typically you close them quicker than you would normally do with a long trade. So you got to be really careful. It's a good idea to start taking profits, at less than 50% on the trade. So, but this is one we could potentially put down as a potential for a, this one is a potential short. So, BLDR is a potential short. I want to put it out there to everyone if you're interested in this. Now, normally the way I short it, I don't use. I typically like to limit my risk when I'm shorting, so I buy I buy puts, but I also sell them too. So I create a spread. I like a bear call spread or a bear put spread. That for me typically is the best way to play a short. So I'm going to try to put together something. I'm going to try to put together something that will hopefully that will hopefully show you how that to short the stock. Well, I think we have one more question here. Let's take a look. Thank you. Let's see. You have have your system gone through a change? Well, no. Let's see. Let me see if I can make this out. I am signed up for your action alert, but haven't received your actions alert yet. Oh, okay. You should be getting one. We're going to be probably putting out one. We're going to probably put out one on. You should have gotten one a few days ago. Here's the thing: if you could I want to make sure that you're on the list. Sometimes I have trouble with my provider, and it says that you're inactive. And it's all crazy. I'm trying to get that. But if you could just go and make sure that you're on the list. Also, if you could send me an email, that would be great to make sure that I use an outside provider. But if you could just drop me a line at dallastradingfloor@gmail.com, that would be a super help. Because again, sometimes for some reason these drop off the list. But I should be getting. I'm going to have an action trade alert that's probably going to go out tonight on this Union Pacific spread trade that I've got, and possibly some other stuff. So make sure that you're on the list by going and just make and that by to www.dallastradingfloor. I need the email address. Sometimes they drop off. Again, I use a outside provider, and sometimes I've had issues with engage. There's a thing with engagement I've got to adjust, and it's anyways. I have a lot of people that are engaged that sometimes don't get them. So make sure that you're on the list. I'm sorry to have to say this again, but if you could go to www.dallastradingfloor, just make sure that that's up to date, and you'll be getting them because we did put out one just a few days ago, so you should have gotten that. Okay, well, everybody, I'll be back at 4 o'clock tomorrow hopefully we're going to have some, we're not. This is going to be this is going to turn into a downtrend. I'm hoping it won't, but we'll see. I'm always looking to, always trying to trade the market and look at the direction of the market. Currently, we're kind of trading sideways, so not an easy market to trade it whatsoever. Just wanted to also indicate here, please, if you could like this, it helps me get out to a lot of people. Really appreciate that. It helps with the algorithms. I'll be back tomorrow again. So happy trading, everybody, and stay safe. And I will see you tomorrow at about 4.